Yo, what is going on today, YouTube? Hope you guys are doing fantastic today. Today, we're doing something a little bit different, but kind of in the same vein of what we've done before. We're going to be talking about builds. I'm going to give you guys some builds that I've been trying, stuff that I thought felt good. And then I'm also going to look at the comments a lot, and we're going to cook together some builds up. If you guys have any builds that you've been trying and you want to know, like, what do I think of them? Toss them in the comments. I'll kind of give you the rundown of what I think. Like, oh, the spikes are bad. Oh, this looks good. Oh, you're missing pen, whatever it is. You can drop the comments down below and we'll just make some builds. We'll cook some builds together and you guys can try the builds that I also have created, I've crafted, I've prepped, I've cooked. You guys can let me know what you think about them also. But let's just jump right in. Starting with the assassins, I wanted to do a Nem build to start because she's getting massive buffs in the next patch, but I think she's still like playable now. It's not like she's terrible. And I think this build feels fantastic. The only thing that I would also do is, if you feel like you've been getting only one kill and then dying, you can switch out the Crusher of her Bloodforge. But Ada's feels like such a good spike for Nem. She uses the attack speed really good. She's not cooldown reliant for Jotuns. Ada's is kind of like the perfect item for her. Also that flat pen. Hydra's she's a really strong auto attack canceller. Every single ability in her kit auto attack cancels very well. Serrated, you kind of dump your entire kit. You want that extra power. Gives movement speed also. Magi's, I think she's going to become very reliant on Magi's because she is very good at getting in, but she's not good at surviving. And the ability to be CC immune to the next hard CC and then also keep your shield up longer, I think makes a lot of sense. And then lastly, yeah, either Crusher or Bloodforge. Crusher, slightly more damage. Bloodforge, slightly more survivability. More 1v5 potential. But I think your 1v1 potential is better with Crusher. But this is what I've been rocking, and it feels very good. For Warriors, I've talked about this build a lot recently, but I'm talking about it again because I think this build is actually insane, and I want others to try it. If you're playing into a magical, this is the build. Bluestone, Genji's, Breastplate, Wingblade, Eldritch Dagger into Spirit's Robe. And then for both of these, you're going Teleport and you're going Blink. With the Nem build, it's obviously Beads Blink. This is the build you're going. If they have a lot of CC, this build will feel a little bit worse and you might have to go Beads, but I've not had to go Beads yet, even though I felt like I've needed to. And it's just the survivability of Tear, the Wingblade, the Spirit's Robe, and you're not really trying to just sit and tank a bunch. You're trying to blink in, get some relics, sprint around, wait for your blink to come back up, blink back in, stuff like that. And this is you're playing against a physical. I skip the Genjis altogether if I'm playing against 3 physicals and the only magical on their team that does damage is their mid laner. You just try to juke out the enemy mid's abilities, and I opt for this binding for just extra damage. And this build has been feeling unreal. For support, all right, hear me out. I know you see Spartan Flag. I know. I'm a hater. You're a hater. We've established we hate Spartan Flag together. However, in this build, I think Spartan Flag would be absolutely busted. In a dive-oriented Sylvanas comp where you blink to start fights, this is unbelievable what it can do. The Thieves for just early survivability. The Breastplate of Vigilance, so when you do blink ult, once they come down from your ult, you won't get bursted by a bunch of auto attacks. And the Spirit's Robe is basically just on top of that. When you do blink in, you're going to get CC'd. You want that survivability. Binding is to make sure when you do blink in and ult, they'll be taking a lot of damage from you and a lot of damage from anybody that's following up. And then I just tossed a Divine Rune in there for just a little bit more damage and a little bit more utility from the anti-heal. I really wanted to go these two in every single game. Scorching Blink, so you actually have near one-shot potential if you can blink somebody on top of the Scorching Blink path. And then Horrific Emblem is just don't use it right away when you blink in. Like, blink alt, and then when they come back down, maybe toss your heal out also. When they come back down, don't use Horrific right away because usually relics are still like getting used and stuff like that, and you're not really taking that damage right away. Give it 2-3 seconds and then pop the Horrific. Or if they're trying to run away and you know they don't have beads, obviously you can pop it. But you want this for just a little bit extra survivability because the problem with the build is you're not super tanky. Divine, Spartan Flag, 2 items that give you no protections, but you do have a good amount of protections from the rest of the items. It's just, you will be a little squishy, but this build feels great. For mages, this build can work for a lot of gods. Merlin, Agni, you name it. I know Spirit of the Magus just got nerfed, but it just combos really well with Typhons, and it gives you that extra 10% pen that you kind of need for a lot of games. Conduit, Chronos Pendant, Spear of the Magus, Typhons, Reaver, and then either Rod or Divine. If you need the anti-heal from Divine, obviously you're building it after the pendant. You're building it right here. But if you don't need the anti-heal, you just go Rod last. And you're building into the movement speed power gem. And the survivability you get from yourself, the damage, like everything about this build is insane. The only somewhat weakness is just Conduit, Chronos Pendant is harass early game. It's not really one-shot potential, so just keep that in mind. But this build feels great. And then lastly, the Hunter build. I've not been cooking too hard in the hunter role lately. Usually I like cooking. When I'm playing in a certain role, I like cooking. I like trying stuff out. This build feels so good in ADC that I don't even feel the need to cook. 90% of games, I'm just building this because it's like every spike feels great. You feel like you're never at a weak spot. The other option is Fail Not here, but if I'm playing on her, I'm going Demon Blade. It feels just incredible how much damage output you have. Yeah, you run out of mana a little bit early game. It's a little bit of a problem. If you really care a lot about it and you feel like you're just constantly out of mana, you can go Dom before Xe. But Xe is just such a good third item spike. This build, well, it's the magnum opus of ADC builds. Feels great. But yeah, those are the builds for every role. I'm also planning on making this more of a recurring thing, kind of updated builds, something that I've been trying out, something I've thought felt good. And then you guys can also give your ideas for builds also, because there's not really a place for you guys to kind of ask stuff like this and have like a little community to like talk about builds and have people help you with them. So I'm hoping to have these videos every once in a while, and you guys can kind of toss them in the comments down below. We can kind of cook up something together. We can get a nice little stew of Smite builds. Yeah, that's the plan. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I'll see you guys again next time. Peace.